bandwidth issue sometimes. Still, settings. Okay. Is that in? Are you
It's up
hearing
at the
anything?
top under that little settings.
Where you change the audio devices and everything.
Okay, studio mode.
Where it currently says voice, you can actually change that to studio.
And that's a good thing, right? Okay, studio.
Yeah. It just means it won't screw with your volume. It'll leave it constant. That's all.
Check. How's that? Still okay?
Still good.
Okay, good.
And good morning, everyone. This is episode 241, the last episode for 2015. Crowd goes wild. I hope you all had a good Life Day / Christmas, etc. Or holidays, whatever whatever you guys say. We just say Merry Christmas over here. So,
Well, Happy Holidays I always thought encompassed both of them.
Yeah, whatever.
As in Christmas and the New Year's. So I think the conspiracy theorists took it down the dark alley of, oh, it's politically correct. No, we've been saying Happy Holidays for a long time.
Anyways. Good point. Yeah. All right.
I say Happy Christmas once it's like 2 days before Christmas. It's Merry Christmas. Come on.
Yeah.
You hope it's merry. All right. We are not going to belabor this. I'm hoping for a short show. Yes, I am. And eventually I will actually be right, just through sheer lack of news, because there isn't any. But we do have a somewhat interesting Sarlacc Digest. I believe we're going to rehash what we did last year, and probably the years before. I don't remember those, though. In terms of what happened, what we thought would happen, what did happen, and what we think's going to happen in 2016. That should be fun. All
Maybe
right,
I should leave before then. Sorry, go ahead.
All right, I'll go in 5.
Roger.
Bring the salt.
Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, podcast that's not from a Jedi. This is episode 241, being recorded on Wednesday, December 30th, 2015. I'm your host, Chill, with our producer and co-host, Tio. Hi, Tio.
Hey, guys.
And our guests today are Kuze and the very musical Ivalon. Kuze, what you been up to?
Well, since the last podcast, I've really only have done a little bit of raiding. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and I haven't logged in since then. I won a beta key to another online game called Black Desert, so I gave that a shot. I've been pretty busy as well outside. I decided to take a small break, so not too much in-game. I did do a podcast with Snave, Take a Seat, a couple weeks back as well.
Oh,
that was in
yeah.
between the last shows that I've done. Which is pretty fun. Snave likes to put you on the spot, so it's always interesting conversation. It was a pretty salty cast, but I think everybody enjoyed it, so it was a good time.
Excellent.
Watched the movie, of course, finally. I was a week late, so that was another reason for me somewhat being off the game and Twitter. I was totally just voided myself of all outside contact because I didn't want any spoilers.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that Evelyn's going to give out in a minute. No, I'm just kidding. So I stayed away from the game and everything, just somewhat because of that.
Right.
But when I went... So I've been kind of on a marketing kick, and I normally get on a SWTOR marketing kick. And I was in movie theaters, and there was 2 Blizzard ads before Star Wars movie came out, which annoyed me. There's always... and it's not the official like trailers before the movie. It's like the commercials and stuff that happened before the movie.
Right, during that quiet period when they're bringing people in and out. Mm-hmm.
So I was really bothered that SWTOR didn't take the time or effort, or I'm sure that there's money issues probably, where they just didn't do a montage of all their cinematics. Like just a few second montage of their great cinematics and just boom, SWTOR online, you come see us, whatever, something like that would have been probably the best marketing thing that they could have ever done. But it wasn't there, contact Cinemark or whatever. And then today when I was at work, I was like, well, I'm going to see if I can find it on Google. And I typed in, SWTOR, or not SWTOR, but I typed in Star Wars. And of course I wasn't expecting to see it because there's just so much stuff Star Wars. So I wasn't expecting to see SWTOR on there. So then I decided, okay, SWTOR games. And I did SWTOR games, and again, nothing was there. It wasn't on. I was expecting to see it on the first page, but the first thing was like Legos and a bunch of other stuff. Now with Google and Bing, according to some people, there's varying results. I was going back and forth a little bit on Twitter with Ags McBurr, I think is their name is.
Okay.
Big data kind of sometimes changes what you view on your searches. So for some people, they might type it in, they might get it. It might pull up for them, but others it might not. So anyways, I was just trying to do it from a normal person view. Hey, I just saw the movie. I want to know if there's any games out there. Let me see if there are any games. And I was expecting to see it on that first page, especially for my work computer because I don't really search that much stuff on there. And I was hoping to see it there, and I just didn't. So it was kind of disappointing to me. I really think that they should at least be on the first page of Google if you type in Star Wars games, and they weren't there.
Because right, exactly. It's still a viable game that's going on right now.
And I did it on Bing, and on my phone I did it on Bing, the browser that I use on my phone, and Google, and it didn't pull up on those either. It was like on the second page. There is a banner across the top that has pictures of all the games, and it was in one of those, but still, a little disappointing.
Well, looking at it for me right now, just Star Wars games, doing an anonymous search, so it's not personalized for me in Google. I get SWTOR as a second hit, and
really?
Knights of the Fallen Empire, etc. are across the top.
Okay. Across the top, or actually in the listing?
Those are across the top. SWTOR.com is the second entry.
Okay.
And I've got Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic over on the right as a video game series.
Sukai got the second one too as well. So that's a little
Australian
odd.
Google.
So yeah, I don't know. At any rate, so that was it.
All right, excellent. And Ivalon, what you been up to since last time we had you on?
Hey, you guys. Thanks for having me back. I'm sorry it's been so long. I actually had to move twice in the last, 5 months. The last time I saw you guys. But I've been, I follow religiously, listen to every cast, and I've tweeted before that when I was doing one cross-country move, you guys, got me through, the desert. Seriously, 3 OotiniCasts in a row. Big fan. I saw the movie. Yeah, oh my God, I've seen the movie 3 times. Yeah, we got to go. First time we went to see it at the El Capitan, which is Disney's flagship theater, and it's actually small, but it's gorgeous and old, and it was insane, just insane. The crowd was, it was so fun, you guys. I'm sure you had a similar experience. The crowd was absolutely nuts. They had that Star Wars, that organ player beforehand who played all the Star Wars music before the movie. And then
That's
they had,
cool.
it was. Then they had and then he sinks down, and then they had a Star Wars laser light show, dude. Seriously, with weird, electronic lightsabers and lasers. It was really killer. And then I got to see it at the Chinese theater, of course, which has been refurbished recently. It's an IMAX theater now, and it was absolutely. It's got the most incredible sound I've ever heard. It was very cool, very fun. And I have the story I got to tell you guys now. This is going to take a second, but I swear the story is worth it. This story is totally worth it, and it's hard to believe. So, and I don't have pictures. Okay, I've said this before. That sucks. Okay, I have witnesses. And I'll have them vouch for me on Twitter. So yeah, I met by happenstance. Really not. Really, this could have happened to anybody. Really, I met J.J. Abrams.
That is cool.
In person, and I got to talk to him for about four minutes, literally, about the music in The Force Awakens. And I won't say I don't want to say too much about where it was, just because it was actually in a public. It has to do. It was in relation to my work, but it was in a public place. So this could have been anybody. Literally, this is very random that I met him. And especially it happened a week ago today. A week ago today, I think it was. And so it was just about a week after the premiere, and 2 days before Christmas. And so he's in I'll just put it this way, in a public place doing something that everybody does. And I think he was, part of it might have been that he wanted to interact with people and get some, and talk, because really, he did have the sunglasses and the cap on and the whole deal, and I happened to recognize him. So it wasn't like people were pointing him out or anything. That I walked up to him and introduced myself. So I won't say it's this, but it's as simple. It could have been in line at Starbucks. It's seriously like that. He was out there 2 days before Christmas, kind of just mixing it up a little bit, talking to people, whoever approached him, and oh my God. So I was like that. It was totally that thing. Really, is that no? That's J.J. Abrams, and he's a little short. He wasn't actively engaging people. He was kind of looking down a little bit, but and I go, dude, I have to tell you, I'm so sorry to bother you, but I have to tell you that the movie was, I said what any of us would say. The movie was incredible, and then I was like, okay, let's not geek out on him too hard, because I'm sure The man can only take so much. So I said about, maybe 10 seconds of ridiculous, over the top, how amazing the movie was. He's like, and he did what you would expect. Oh, thank you, man. Thanks. Thank you. That's very kind. Thank you. Thank you. Well,
Right.
And I remember thinking, okay, this has been a great moment. Let's just let it go, And I go, this is where anybody in their 20s would have gotten the selfie, right? But it just didn't really occur to me. And I go, I realized, I was like, oh, I have to ask him about music. And I go, dude, I have a theory about the music. Dude, I have a theory about the music, and apparently that was the right thing to say, because he instead of being like no, he was like, oh my god, he said exactly what he said was, oh wow, really, what's your theory? It wasn't
cool.
It wasn't like shut up, go away. Yeah,
yeah, no,
like,
he perked
really,
right up.
Theory? Yeah, and later I thought about this a lot. I actually talked to some friends about it. I realized, oh yeah, remember, we know he's a huge John Williams fan. He's a John Williams nerd.
Right.
Like we are Star Wars nerds, and so he does want to talk about the music, and I was like, this is cool, and I told him my theory, and I'm going to tell the theory real quick. It's not actually spoilery, but it does relate to the characters. So if you haven't seen the movie, maybe don't listen to this part. And my theory is basically, and I've sent some files, and we'll try to add some audio after the fact. But Kylo Ren's theme, which is ba 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 ba, right? That's just 5 notes. It is no Imperial March. Let's put it that way. But it's there. It's more of like a motif, right?
Yeah.
It's there. It's not there all the time, but it's actually pretty declarative. And then Rey's theme, which Rey's theme is like the opposite. It's like 45 seconds to a minute long. It's very expansive. It goes through like key changes. It's the exact opposite. Okay, and it goes. Right. The part of it goes bum bibba bum bum bibba bum bibba bum bibba bum. You know that part, and those last 3 notes are the same relationship pitch wise as the last 3 notes of Kylo Ren's theme. And you'll see it when I sent to you a little analysis. Now I put them in the same key in order to do this because they are almost always I think in different keys. So
right, that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but what matters is the note relationship and the interval relationship between the notes are the same at the end of each little chunk. So, and that's not an accident, right? That's not an accident. That happens on purpose. So right. That's my theory. And I told him that, and I got really geeked out, like I kind of do, like I just did when I get excited. And it was really cool, you guys. He was into it. He was like, oh. I mean, he was just talking like anybody else, like a Star Wars fan. He goes, that's cool. Possible. That's a possibility. I don't know for sure, but I'll ask him. He said, I'll ask him. I'm like, oh my God. Right. Then, I think I squealed. I did squeal like a 7-year-old. I did, probably. I remember I was shaking a little bit, too. I was kind of embarrassed, so excited. And he goes, I'll ask him. And then he starts telling me stuff. Okay? Because he goes, because, and you guys have probably heard this. This is commonly, people figure this out. He goes, because he did. And in the credits, he put the old Force theme fits underneath the Rey theme together. And you can hear it at the end of the end credits. It does. You hear basically the Force theme and the Rey theme kind of going back and forth. They kind of fit together. It's really cool. And the old Binary Sunset, or some people call it the Force theme, and Rey's theme. Right. So he tells me that, and I had heard that too. And he goes, they actually fit together. So it's highly possible that he did make the 2 themes similar or have a relationship that way. And but it was cool because he hadn't considered it, and he certainly didn't come out and say, oh yeah, John Williams did it on purpose. He said, oh, that's possible. And remember, this is only this was a week ago today, so that this was only. I mean, I had seen the movie 2 days before that because I didn't see it till maybe Sunday, and just by total chance, had gotten so excited that I went and listened to all the tracks like a day before I met him, and this was fresh in my mind. And I'd been talking with a colleague about the music. Obviously, everybody's been geeking out about the score, and I had just been talking to a colleague about this theory that I have. We were and he has his own theories, and so to happen to meet J.J. Abrams essentially in public the next day, and a few days after a new Star Wars movie comes out, it's absolutely mind-boggling.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it was. So he kept talking, and he goes, I'll just tell you guys a few more cool things that he said. He goes, the first time I heard Rey's theme was John Williams playing it on the piano. Playing that beautiful long theme on the piano. He said it was gorgeous. It was like a great moment for him after having worked so hard on the movie. He also said, I'll try to remember the other things he said. He asked if I'd heard the Resistance theme. And I was like, I don't know which one that is. He's like, well, it's my favorite one. And it was just so raw for me. I'd only seen the movie one time and listened to a lot of the music, but Resistance theme is the one that kicks in when the X-Wings show up.
Okay.
And it's like, crap, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it's really awesome. It's very evocative of other Star Wars movies. It is a really great, pretty long developmental theme that just rises and rises and rises, and then there's a great payoff. He said that was his favorite, which I thought was interesting. He didn't say that, the character themes were not his favorite, but the action, one of the big action cues was JJ's favorite cue. He was really, the other thing about him that was really cool is that he was not all self-absorbed about it. He was like, are you a musician? He did that thing that the people at the top, you always hear about the people at the top do stuff like they're not all self-absorbed. They're actually interested in other people,
Right.
He goes, are you a musician? And I was really taken aback by that. I did not expect him to ask me a question, And I go, oh yeah, I'm a composer. I studied with Jerry Goldsmith, and he's like, oh, and I managed to get that line out because many years when I was younger, I studied with Jerry Goldsmith, and I managed to squeeze that in there. And he goes, I'm so glad I said that because he just wanted to keep talking. He's like, oh wow, he's like, I love that stuff. So we talked about Jerry a little bit, who's he's passed away long ago now, and I just had a conversation with him like a regular dude if I wasn't shaking,
That's cool. Right.
Yeah. I also mentioned,
nerves,
I have an old boss who is acquaintances with him, so I brought it up. There's a 3D application called Cinema 4D. It's like Maya, and that's a company I used to work for, and I know that JJ had been an early proponent of this software and used it on old shows like Lost and other shows. It's 3D software. And I mentioned that, and I was like, "Oh, my old boss would love to hear about whether you use Cinema 4D at all in this film." And I was shocked because it's a very niche-y kind of, nobody really uses it. It's kind of like the other Maya that everybody uses Maya or whatever else they use for Star Wars stuff they make themselves. And he goes, "Oh yeah, we use that software." And he told me specifically at the end the helicopter. I think he meant the helicopter shot around the main characters at the very end of the movie.
Yep.
The very last shot of the movie. Thank you.
Yep.
He said that that they used that software for that scene. Anyway, I was just, at this point, I was coming up with however many ways I could come up with to extend the conversation. Now we're not even talking about music, but I just shook his hand again and said, "Thank you so much for talking to me. I'm a huge fan. This is just awesome." And I don't know. He just walked us. "Yeah, man, cool, man." Walks off. He did that thing that you see him in all the interviews. He just talked kind of fast. Like, "Yeah, man, that's sort of that's pretty cool in the thing." It just talked really fast and nothing's a big deal, Right. And after it, so that was kind of the end of it. But since then, I guess I've thought of talking to friends and stuff and family about it because I got so excited. Of course, I called all my friends and family, told them the whole story, and they I was just thinking, this is a person who just led that group of artists, all these creative people, through this juggernaut. I mean, and they now have the biggest movie of all time. This is the guy who coordinated all that.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's the guy who came up with the idea of BB-8. I'm not sure if that's actually true, but I read that he drew it. And I didn't ask him that, but I mean, whether he did or not, this is the guy who came up with this stuff after George, and gave it back to us. And I'm just like, and this guy's just walking around like anybody else,
That's so cool.
It was just. It sounds silly, but to actually meet him and to have these thoughts, it's very inspiring. I'll say it was very inspiring. Very inspiring. Just to feel like anybody. This could have been anybody. He was just like, a fan who liked to make movies as a kid. So anyway, thanks for letting me tell that story. I want to hear back from you guys. If you have questions, hit me up on Twitter. I'm at @PerComposer, @PERComposer, and I'll tell you more about it. If there is more to tell, I pretty much just told it all.
Sure. Or if they have maybe questions in general about the themes, musical themes of the movie.
Absolutely. And I know we have not talked yet about Kotfi music, but right now I'm just way more excited about this new John Williams score. So yeah, let's chat. I've had a lot of great chats with Dekion and others on Twitter about the music. So yeah, hit me up and let's chat about it.
Awesome. Wow. Thanks for sharing that. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Really cool.
All right. Tio, what you been up to?
Well, I haven't logged into the game for the last week. Let's see. On the day after
right,
we recorded, well, Friday and Saturday were family lunches, and then on Sunday morning, early-ish, we flew to Alice Springs, and then just flew back. We got home 10:30 last night, so
wow.
really barely back in the door. And just to give people a sense of perspective, Alice Springs is in roughly the geographical centre of Australia, literally in the middle. Chill, you were right. There were actual springs there.
Oh, good.
I think Blacklock actually tweeted the link to the explanation, but there was a telegraph station. That's when they used to send stuff via Morse code over wires. Right at the beginning, it was set up there, and the water hole, the springs, Alice Springs, was close by to that.
Nice.
So anyway, and Australia's kind of big, so it took 3 hours to fly from Brisbane, which is on the right-hand side, the east coast, about the middle, to the middle. It's roughly 2,000 kilometres as the plane flies, as it were.
Right.
And if you want to go north, it's 15 hours to Darwin, and if you go south, it's 15 hours to Adelaide. So just driving.
Driving.
So yeah. And middle of a desert, I expected literally just, Tatooine-like conditions. But as it turns out, it's actually surprisingly green. Very and quite pretty. It had been raining, and on the last day, it was raining, which is actually quite unusual. There was a tropical low coming down south, but it's the most amazing place. And we apparently saw it when it was at its coolest. It's usually hot, hot.
Right, blazing hot. Now, it also has that famous rock there, correct?
Correct. Uluru, or Ayers Rock, as it used to be known. Unfortunately, that's like 6 hours drive away from Alice Springs.
Okay, so it's not that close.
No.
Wow.
There is an international airport there, and you can actually just fly directly to it now. That's a fairly recent thing. So one day we will visit, because the native Australians, it's holy to them, or sacred. But they do tours around it and all the rest of it. So
cool.
Next time. But anyway,
Next time.
It was quite a change, quite a challenge, travelling with a 4-month-old baby. But we survived and actually had a great time.
And there were peacocks and dingoes.
Yeah, so
There were indeed. So the peacock was at the hotel where we stayed. I was going down to breakfast one morning, and there it was, just perching there. Quite unusual, but very pretty. And the dingoes were at the desert park where we went for my sister-in-law's 40th birthday. We just had to wander around, and there was an enclosure with a couple of dingoes. I'd never actually seen them face to face, as it were.
Right.
They're very pretty dogs. Dog-like. Australian wolves, whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, very much not domesticated. So you can't keep them as pets, because they are still wild, essentially. But
Absolutely,
beautiful dogs.
Yeah, Ari's tweet was pretty funny about that.
Yes, the dingoes did not take our baby.
That's right.
Thank God. Kept it inside. Let's keep it inside.
Indeed. Anyway, I hope to play more this week before I have to go back to work next week. So, anyway, that's my week. Over to you, Chill.
All right. First, a shout out to the chat room. Let's see. Ari's here. Blacklock, Swotor, Darth Brundlefly, Dekion, Demerzel85, DreadX, Durregi, Fianha, Gihana, G-Land, G-Noblesse, Kawai, I guess, Jockins, JP Chivalry, Lint777, Leston Lash, Mac Me Burger, Marlin, Neon Haze, and Frottle, and Reindeer86, Arjar75, Kuze is here, Sakatur, Siskayetka, Sneaky Z93, Trig PT, and Zamzam are all here. Hello, everyone. All right. First of all, thank you to everyone who's been sending me very nice messages following last week's show. I really appreciate them. It actually has been very helpful. I did find the information on the organization who arranged the donation of my wife's organs. It's www.donatelifenw.org. NW is just short for Northwest. And because I know some people were asking about donations in her memory, and her name is Jennifer Starr. So, thank you for that. Finally, I did sort of get back into the game. I found that Dekion had sent me some packs as a Life Day gift, which was nice. I got a Zerka Z3B speeder, a munitions stockpile deco, a Moonlight Vrake, which is that funky cat-like one with the wings out of its shoulders.
Nice.
Yeah, it's almost like I don't know. It's almost like never-ending story. Like it's it's bizarre, but it's kind of cool. Some Mandalorian lower body armor and another deco of the encased warhead stockpile. So good stuff. And thank you, Dekion. I created a new character just because I wanted something sort of low pressure, low key to do in the game. And I sort of made a Harley Quinn based character to go with my Joker themed character. Also, Harley's always been a favorite of myself and my wife. I haven't settled on a costume yet, but for fun I threw on one of her pilot outfits and then put one of the garish pink and purple dyes that came out of the cantina boxes. So I put a screenshot.
It is. Yep.
And it's it's relatively appropriate for her. When I find something that's more accurate, that'll be better, but that works for now. And you can see you can also get like through the complexion and the cosmetics, you can get sort of a mask-like effect over her eyes too. So that works pretty well. And as you'll be able to tell by the next shot I put, we're not casual fans. We go way back to the 90s when we were watching the show every week live as it came out. In the 1990s, we bought a Joker and Harley cell from Batman the Animated Series. Unfortunately, it's not our best, and it's not the best at all anyway. Some of the black lines do not show properly, but I still like it, and it's still fun. It doesn't photograph well because the cell itself and the plastic over it, both reflect very highly. So I couldn't take a very good picture of it, but it's from, I believe it's from the Man Who Killed Batman, that episode, and Harley's, I think, just said, "Oh, Mr. J, you know how to put the fun in funeral." That sort of thing. So I think that's what she just said right in this scene, if I remember correctly. It's been a while.
Sure. Were you a fan of the original live-action series with Adam West, I believe?
Adam West? Yeah, in a way. It's campy, but it's fun, But I really liked Batman the Animated Series. Right. I think it was just it was such a well-done show with... and they did it so unusually, too, because unlike most animated shows, they didn't start with a white screen. They actually start with a black screen, and then they paint on top of black, which gives it a completely different feel than other types of animation. Right. So that's one of the reasons why it looks so kind of dark and gloomy a lot of the time.
Oh, and that makes sense.
It's very tonal because of that.
It always had such a cool look to it. I mean, the first time I saw that when it first came out, it looked like nothing else ever looked
exactly.
before.
That's why.
That makes sense. Wow.
They start with a black background, yeah. So it's very unusual that way. So I started her up, and boy, with the double XP, it's leveling like crazy. I think I was level 10 in less than an hour. I think I got up to level 14 when I stopped, and just barely ready to go to Derman Koss, way far ahead of where I need to be. Not doing any side missions. It's crazy.
So with the new experience that they've changed to, basically instead of 12x XP, it's 6x XP plus the double. It's basically like 12x XP used to be.
Yeah. Seems to, basically it feels very much like that, or even faster because it's double XP, but not just of missions. It's double XP period.
Because you get mob kills and stuff too, and that can count towards a 12x XP.
Yep, it's the mob kills, exploration,
everything,
lore objects. I mean, even lore objects were giving me 2,000 XP and stuff. It goes very quickly. So, but it's fun, and so I made her a merc. And, I guess I could have gone with Scoundrel, but I figured she would want to be on the same side as the Joker character. So that was my week.
Sense. Yep.
Yeah. My son is actually seeing the Star Wars for the second time right now with some of his cousins. So I'm sure he's having fun doing that. I'll try to see it again this weekend for a second time if I can. And, go from there.
I should mention I'm reading The Force Awakens, the novel. So after seeing the movie, I did buy it online as an ebook, and it parallels the movie very closely, So it was Alan Dean Foster who wrote it, so he obviously wrote it from the script, but there are some extra scenes. I'm hoping that it will kind of flesh things out, because I've only seen it the once and it all went by. I'm sure there's things I missed, and I'm hoping by reading the novel it will kind of flesh out the experience. And I was thinking we would do a spoiler cast for The Force Awakens, though I know other people have done it as well. We may as well just do it just for the hell of it. Or we may do it as part of the regular episode and just do it in the Sarlacc Digest at the end. Though, as mentioned earlier, we're all Star Wars fans. Who wouldn't have seen the movie like next week or the week after?
Yep.
Well, with all the news coming out about SWTOR, you might not have time.
Yeah, let's just say
I know, I'm salty here, sorry. I'm really not that bad.
It is the quiet time of year, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Hey, the salt is entertaining. I'm a fan of the saltiness.
That's mainly why I do it. Yeah.
Right. All right, and that'll bring us to the tip of the week. We have 5 tips this week, and Tio, why don't you start us off?
Our first tip is from Ewan from Jedi Covenant. This tip is about heroics. Don't forget about the heroics at the starting planets and capital worlds. These worlds have some of the largest level ranges, so you can get heroics where the mobs are grey and die almost instantly. Even heroics with a lot of mobs to kill goes super quick. Another tip, if you aren't on a heavy pop server, look for open world heroics that share an area. A great example of this is the 3 heroics on Ord Mantell. You can do 3 heroics in just one quick loop, and at least on Jedi Covenant, it never seems to be busy. Also on the Ord Mantell, talk to the droid last, because that heroic is a bonus you will complete just doing the other 2 heroics. Just so for free credits. Cool.
Okay. I gotta say, the heroics, some of them, if they're not instanced, I'm finding on the Harbinger, because I've been trying to kind of farm those a little bit when I get to play. And on the Harbinger, if it's not an instanced heroic, you're definitely competing with lots of other people trying to get some of the bosses that don't spawn. So there's definitely some heroics you want to avoid right now.
Okay. Sounds good. Second tip is from Sir Nobody. Sir Nobody writes, if you have any companions that you unlocked in the class story, not in Copy, but never raised their affection high enough to complete their questline, visit them on your ship before you start Copy on that character. In the transition from affection to influence, the gating of companion quests was eliminated, or at least significantly nerfed. So the rest of the questline should be available regardless of your current influence with that character.
Right.
I believe it's actually gated now not to the influence at all, but instead to your level, as
that sounds right.
believe that.
They did say that, yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah. So, so if you have one who's about ready to start Copy, that's definitely the time to go ahead and do all those companion talks.
Because they will be auto-finished. So you got to do it right then before you start Coffee, or the chance will be lost.
I think I almost gained a level from that too, between all my characters on one of my teams. Yeah.
Yep. Easy to do if you leveled quickly or just haven't caught up on any of their affection. Yeah, you get a lot.
I actually chose not to do that on my Sork when he started Coffee, because it would have given me too much XP, and I didn't want to get to 65 too soon in the story, though I did anyway.
Right.
And our third tip is from Pedram. This one is a quick one. I don't know if it has been covered or not, but I found out that double-clicking on the mini-map opens the full map.
Wow, I did not know that, actually.
I did not know that either.
I don't think I ever knew that either.
Wow, okay.
There you go. Thank you.
So simple, and yet you learn something like that? That's amazing. Okay.
4 years later, there you go, Mr. Clicker.
I was going to say, all that clicking I do, you figured I would have found that out.
Fourth tip is from... Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's funny that you say that, Kuzi, because the map is literally one of the only keybinds that I have in the game. You know, I'm a clicker.
Seriously?
I'm a clicking... Yeah, I'm a clicking healer, if you can imagine that. So,
that's all I do.
It's like the only keybind I have is the map.
That's funny. And now you can eliminate that one.
Hey, yeah, you should double click the map. I'm all clicks all the time, baby. The worst raider ever.
All right, fourth tip is from Elion D. Here's a quick time-sensitive tip to take advantage of before Life Day ends and before it gets fixed, if it does. I noticed that the snowball bomb and the snowball cannon do not share a cooldown, so I was able to click one and then the other while it was on the GCD. This made it go much faster to click and thus collect parcels. Hope this helps those who are not already special snowflakes become one soon. Happy New Year, guys. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, which one of those, or is it both? The snowball cannon, I believe, is purchasable from the GTN. This was mentioned in the previous show, I believe, and it's like a pay-to-win kind of thing. Because you can just buy it with cartel coins, and as they don't share a cooldown, so...
Right.
It's
far
pretty
away.
fun, too. It's pretty fun. Just snowball cannon in the face all day. Oh, yeah. It's the best way to spend your holiday.
Oh, yeah. If you're not clicking companion gifts, yes.
Oh, God. Don't get me started. Yeah.
All right, our last tip is from our good friend and deck officer in Utini Knights and Utini Rage, Decion. Decion here. My tip of the week is about something we won't admit, but have wondered about. Is how to romance Lana in Knights of the Fallen Empire. When you begin Kotvi, you're presented with several opportunities to flirt with Lana. At one point, you even get to play a little kissy face. None of that matters. In Chapter 9, there's a scene in the cantina with Theron and Lana where your choice matters. During the cutscene and conversation, you are presented with a choice to answer Theron Shan's question, I need to talk to one of you, and flirt, I need to talk to one of you. This is the choice that matters. 99% of people choose the first one because they think it means you'll flirt with Theron. If you choose the first one, that ends any flirting with Lana and the game continues. If you choose the flirt option, you will either get to pick who to walk away with, or if you've been spending the expansion pining over that blonde Sith, you'll walk away with Lana. If you talk to Lana alone, that will seal the deal, and you'll get a pop-up asking if you want to start a romance with Lana. She still doesn't like courting gifts, so keep beating her cultural artifacts. Romancing Lana is different than the core companions because she swings both ways, which means it doesn't matter which class or faction you are playing. Oh yeah, and she also swings. So. Yeah.
And she also swings both ways in the more traditional sense.
Oh yeah, and she also swings both ways.
Oh, my goodness.
Is that because
Bonus.
she's a double-bladed Sith? You know, she uses two lightsabers?
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about.
And a bonus tip from Decion. While power leveling my Sith assassin, I figured out that if I have the heroics for the planet I'm visiting and know where the heroics are located, I could quick travel to each heroic to open up parts of the planet by quick traveling to the heroic. This saves a ton of time running around opening up the map. Most heroics are near class mission destinations on each planet.
So
there you
good.
go. Thanks,
good.
and may the force be with you.
I love those new quick travels, man. That's so... Because they made the Alliance thing such a grind, at least they gave us that quick travel to get, make it kind of fun getting around.
That's true. Yeah, I agree.
That is cool. All right, by random allotment, the winner is Sir Nobody. So congratulations, Sir Nobody. You're the winner of a Ton Fun or M83R Droid pet code, courtesy of BioWare, and an OotiniCast provided cartel market pack from the latest shipment. And if you'd like a chance to win the same, please send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com by next Tuesday. And that will bring us to the holo feed. Teal?
Has Kuze got something to say?
Yeah, I was listening to the podcast last week, and you had a community submission or something along those lines talking about companion gifts and affections.
Yep.
And they were referring to Chill, and they were saying, that it's broken for me, so I'm not sure how it was working for Chill. But when we were talking about Chill, he was referring to Doc. Doc, without romancing him at all, loves courting gifts. So you don't have to romance Doc at all whatsoever. He just, in general, just loves courting gifts. So
Cool.
I think Chill was referring to Doc when he was saying that. So it doesn't matter if you have affection with him or not. That's just the thing that he loves.
Okay.
So I just wanted to clarify that.
So they are, but courting gifts, otherwise they are kind of broken, right? Is that right? I heard that.
I haven't tested it.
They seem like
He's
they're
the only
not
one that I
working.
know of that in
Yeah,
general loves courting gifts, aside from affection.
but right, the ones that come that are improved by romancing, there does seem to be some problems with some of those, from what we've heard.
Yeah, it seems pretty clear.
That's okay. My fingers are already bloody nubs from hitting the 1 key and the 2 key over and over. So if I got a couple of extra 1,000 taps in the courting, I don't blame BioWare for any of that. They're on holiday. It's cool.
We need one of Homer Simpson's little drinking birds to left click for us, or right click or whatever.
Because then we get banned for some kind of mechanical, that's not allowed. That's not allowed. Not that I've ever been banned.
All right, let's talk news then, and there isn't any. Basically, I did pick a story from outside of SpoilerTor, just that Star Wars The Force Awakens has become the fastest film ever to hit the magic $1 billion at box offices worldwide, collecting $1.09 billion in just 12 days.
Slow clap. Wow.
And they basically, the one they beat was Jurassic World, which got the 1 billion in 13 days. However, Jurassic World apparently opened in China and got massive sales there, whereas The Force Awakens won't be in China until
January 9th, I believe. Yeah.
In early January.
Cheaters.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does that
that's
beat-
amazing.
Does that beat the Sound of Music? I think is the current holder because of inflation, right? So
Oh, really?
1 billion nowadays is not the same as 1 billion a long time ago. So I think that they were the record holders for like the first day sales or something.
If you
along
take
those
inflation
lines.
into account.
Yeah.
Possibly.
So I don't know if they beat that mark.
Interesting. That'd be nice to see the numbers without inflation. I'm sure it's out there. Or what the numbers with, accounting for inflation. I'd like to see that number.
Yeah. And there's also the fact that ticket prices are going up, so you're getting more bang for your buck every time.
Right. So to me, this is a little padded. Not saying that
Yeah.
they probably wouldn't have beaten the record anyways, but just movies in general, as time goes on, in 20 years, 1 billion might not be as the same. And at any rate,
I think Box Office
Yeah.
Mojo will show you that number. I think that might be the right place to go.
Like the number of seats sold, that sort of thing.
Well, the actual numbers with accounting for inflation. They have all the granularity on that site.
There you go.
Cool.
Yeah.
And that's the news.
All right. I guess we're on and there's nothing for the community, so we're moving on to the Force feedback, where we read out your tweets and emails. And chat room, if you have any questions to ask, we'll gather them now to answer once we're done with the feedback. Sukai wrote, Day 4, double XP, hashtag SWOTOR leveling. Just the gear I got at level 1, rank 2, and no advanced class, got to level 65 in 17 and a half hours. Whew.
Bloody hell, that was with double XP, as you said, but
Yep.
wow.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah. So they've said it's easier. I think they're right.
Yeah, I think so too. That's pretty crazy. Bimal Suj wrote, FYI, the Origin deal for 60-day and 1,000 cartel coins is limit 1 per account. I bought enough for me and my wife to get through all the remaining coffee chapters, then had to spend time on the phone with the SWOTOR people to find out that it was limit 1 per account. Then more time on the phone with Origin to get a refund.
Yeah, I did
Yeah, I was
something
gonna-
to know.
about that when it came up last week, whether it was
Yeah.
1 per account, because I thought I'd heard that somewhere. Maybe
Right,
Ted
I
had
think I-
mentioned it, actually.
Yeah, I tweeted out a while ago, and I think it was Turg that had mentioned to me because I was like, "Oh, this is such a great deal. I think I'm going to buy another one." He was like, "We read into the policy and terms,
Right.
and it was one per." So I was going to write in, but I'm on. You already clarified it, so it doesn't matter. Boom.
Literally, it was too good to be true.
Yeah. But at least buy it once. It's still a discount, and
Yeah.
with the cartel coins.
Yeah, it's a good deal. I got that too. I'm actually I'm considering once that Amazon thing runs out. I guess what was a 3-month price. It's funny. I'm not really a sub. I just buy the 2-month access. I guess you are. I mean, I am a sub, but I don't have a recurring sub. And I think I'm gonna, as a lot of people have, try to kind of speak with my wallet, vote with my wallet once that Amazon thing runs out. Maybe I think I have like another month, and then just try to go free to play for a while, and just because I love all the discussion that's been happening lately. Like a lot of people, I love the game. I play it as much as I can whenever I can, but some of the things, all the things together that the community has been discussing in the last 2 months, all the things as a whole, when you put them all together, it's like, man, I'll still play the game, but they need to know that there's something that's affected everybody in the game in a negative way in the last 2 months, and we just need to let them know. I'm not saying I'm not going to keep playing or that I'm not going to come back, but as a subscriber, I probably will. But kind of like smacking them on the wrist a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, BioWare. Sorry, you're not going to get my money for a couple months because here they're all gone, and all the events are broken. They can't fix anything. The exploit that lasted for 6 weeks that they knew about. All that together, it's like, come on, let's at least just slap them on the wrist a little bit so they know, they see their number dip. It's like, oops, we screwed up. I think that
But-
might be wise.
Yvonne, the bonus HK 55 chapter, we get to play as HK.
You know,
You miss out.
I want to say one thing about that. You guys, it's just not too spoilery. You got Nico Okar. I thought that was a great idea. Like, oh, cool, a companion as a subscriber reward, right? And then you get to, and I saved him. I didn't roll him early or whatever, so that I could see his little story. You know, I was all excited, and the story was kind of funny for a second, right, for a minute. But you know, mix him a drink, mix him the right drink. That's it. That was the story. So when they give us that for Nico Okar, who's a legend of SWTOR lore, they give us that for him. I do not expect this HK story to be anything much bigger than that, and certainly not worth that much money.
I'm kind of in the same boat with Evelyn about the voting with your wallet type stuff, and I don't want people to take salt for hatred. I do want to see it succeed, as I've said in the past, but you know there are things where you need to step back a little bit and let them know that you're unhappy.
Yeah.
And I was thinking today, just the mere fact that these conversations are happening, regardless if they're truth or not, means that something is wrong and that they should be fixed. So yeah, I'll be doing the same thing, but still,
At least just
hopeful,
a month or two, I might get some actual work done during that month or two, and
Yeah,
then
same here.
and then come back. They'll know that we have our disagreements with them.
And the one last thing about last week that you guys had on the podcast was the veteran rewards. And when I was on previously, and even on a Take a Seat, it's not an entitled thing. I don't want rewards to be because I'm a veteran. I want everybody to receive those rewards. So the thing with the HK chapters, it would be nice if they were able to recycle that content. So if they had a SWTOR vendor on Fleet that says, hey, if you've subbed for so many months, this unlocks for you, and you can take advantage of that. But that doesn't get them the numbers now. It might get them the numbers in the future, but not right here at this point. So it would be nice if that was there for everybody as a whole, not just I'm entitled, veteran. You need to, give something.
Yeah, agree. Completely agree.
Anyways, sorry.
All right. Jacket wrote, hello, OotiniCast. Jacket here. Just wanted to wish you guys a Merry Christmas / Life Day. Thanks for all you do. The SWTOR player base will be in debt for producing a strong pillar in our community. Cheers. Thank you, Jacket.
Thank you, Jacket, and that's presumably Jacket from the Utini War Room, which he was doing with Turg.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
fun.
right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Brewdog wrote, take 5 minutes and look at the dev and community team interaction on the Marvel Heroes forums, and then look at the SWTOR forums.
Well, yes. Now, curiously, Brian Wagner, who used to do the Tor Wars podcast, also known as Azros, is now the community manager on the community team, certainly for Marvel Heroes. And their interaction really is apparently quite good. Now, there's one game I've never played because I'm not really into the whole superhero thing, but I've been hearing very good things about it of late. So even if you didn't like it at first, apparently it's really being cleaned up. It's just Diablo with superheroes, but there's lots of cool aspects to it if you're into action RPGs.
All right.
That's cool.
Sith Kitty wrote, so my favorite question is about going preferred. How do you deal with token drops from operations? I had a couple of story mode tokens and then put them into my armor, and now I can't wear it anymore. I guess I have to buy the artifact authorization unlock, but I thought they removed needing that for gear for 4.0.
They only removed it for certain cartel market items, purple items,
Yeah.
I believe, that were cosmetic only.
Right.
Yeah.
But for anything that's the real deal, yeah, you still need the unlock.
Yeah, which you can get account-wide. It is expensive. I believe it was 2,300 cartel coins last time I checked, but it is so worth it. Hopefully you can get on the GTN for credits.
Right. If you're looking for a subscriber-style gameplay while being
It's
preferred,
essential.
it's something you're going to have to get. Yeah. Charlie wrote, they built Ray's Lego speeder from The Force Awakens. A quick build, but one of the coolest I've built, to be honest. Very nice, actually.
Oh, sweet. But does
Has
it
little
have flourish? Mount flourish.
It kind of does. Well, at least the side's open.
Sweet.
Control Z and it opens up.
My
Manual
question is,
manual mount flourish.
Yeah.
Very cool.
My question is, when they put this in the cartel market, is it going to cost more or less than the Lego version? More, maybe.
Awesome.
That's pretty nice. Shamar wrote, after Kranatoko's email last week about making the Life Day event more of an event and less of a snowball throwing contest, I had some thoughts. Don't get me wrong, I love my snowballs. I'm throwing them year-round any time I'm on Hoth or Ilum. But I agree with Charlie that Life Day needs something new. Maybe it's just become too commercialized and we need to get back to the reason for the season. Life Day is a Wookiee holiday, after all. For those of you who missed the 1978 Christmas special, and the holiday special, actually, but yes. And I think players would be pretty stoked about an event on Kashyyyk. We would need a whole new planet.
Yeah.
We would not need a whole new planet, simply something the size of Manan or CZ-198, comparable to the size of the Rakghoul tunnels. That's a cool idea, and we certainly know that they have their strong ideas of what it should look like from the KOTOR games. Shamar continues, after watching the Christmas special for more inspiration, what about a quest to take a little lost Wookiee home for Life Day? Or better yet, what about a Hutball-style PvP match where you have to get the Wookiee to safety? You could throw him to teammates to help him escape the evil Sith. I suppose on the Empire side, they could be trying to kidnap the Wookiee for his fur instead, Cruella of the DeVille style. The Sith don't seem to be full of the Life Day spirit anyway. It would be a simple change of the ball in the existing Hutball game to be a baby Wookiee. PV players rejoice. You're welcome.
Nice. They could also skin
pretty
this.
funny.
They could skin this, so you could also do this with Baby Jabba from the Clone Wars, and then also the what's
Right.
that one? What's that one little guy that you find on Tython with like the Flesh Raider baby? Yeah, they'll have a skin for the Flesh Raider baby. You know, make that the Hutball. Don't
Yeah,
kick
that's
the
right.
Flesh Raider baby.
I
Yeah.
remember that thing, yeah.
I do like the fact that new players can come into the game and kind of do that same event that's rehashed to the old players, but then it's a new experience for the new players. Of course, they can get the same old rewards. I don't mind old rewards and things on the market, but I do like new stuff. If they would update it year to year when it comes out. I mean, this is a yearly event, so you would hope that they would have plenty of time between now and next year to update it somewhat. They did add some cannons and stuff this year, I guess, compared to last year, but yeah.
Yeah, I will say that I didn't play it last year, and I played it a lot the year before, and it was kind of cool having missed one that actually, from my experience, was like very different from the first time or 2 years ago.
Actually they did. You're right. Yeah.
But not.
Especially with
I think it's the same as last year right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple new things in there, though. Right, a couple new things to buy, essentially. I think.
Yeah. There were a few. Yeah. Now that I think about it, there were a few new things, especially with you go into the home world and throwing snowballs at the droids that were overheating and stuff like that.
Right, I hadn't
That
done
was
that
a little
before.
bit different spin.
Yeah, I guess that's from last year, right? But I hadn't done it before, so it's kind of fun. But I will emphasize one more time that snowball cannon to the face with your good friends, that never gets old, First, my rotation would be snowball cannon to the face, followed by vending machine to the head. That's my rotation.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then fake him out with the feigned death.
One more, feigned death. That's number 3 in my rotation. One more thing about this idea. I do want to mention that if we're going to go there with the Life Day event, then we got to have like Mala and Lumpy, from the holiday special, and then we got to have Carrie Fisher. We need to have old, current day drunk Carrie Fisher singing the song from the holiday special.
Oh my god.
Yeah, let's get it all in there. Let's go all the way with this, BioWare. Let's get on that.
And Shamar did also do one or two other little things here. For those who have not seen it, here's a fun clip of Conan O'Brien ambushing Harrison Ford about the Star Wars Christmas special.
and that was hilarious, gotta say.
There's a link. I'll have to check that
no.
out.
Yep.
Wow.
And it also has a picture of a baby Wookiee as an example for the new Hutball texture.
Which I will include in the show notes. Yes.
Very cute,
Very
actually.
nice.
I think I've seen that on Twitter too. It looks familiar.
It's definitely a little bit less. It's a little bit more. It's a lot cuter than Lumpy. Let's put it that way.
Is that Nerf
Yes.
milk he's drinking?
It's not blue milk.
Nerf milk.
Yeah.
All right. Blacklock and Brian of the Bad Feeling podcast. Brian wrote, because puns are the highest form of comedy, and then there's a YouTube link.
Yeah, Force Awakens quotes in a weather forecast, which many of you probably will have seen by now. It's excellent from an English TV station, I believe.
Right. So,
And for example, if you like Luke Farther West, if you Luke Farther West, if you're Wookiee instead of Lucky, that kind of thing.
Right.
It's a bit painful.
Ouch. All right. Justin, a.k.a. Strike Zone, writes, Hi, OotiniCast. This is Justin, or Strike Zone, on Shadowlands and part of the Tor Wars Guild. I send this in another attempt to make Teal laugh with Star Wars humor. I work at a university, and a friend shared the first picture to help people understand what term they're supposed to be using when referring to a graduate of a school. Alumni, alumnus, alumnae, and so on. And with The Force Awakens only a few days away, there's a potential for more Force users, so take a look at the second graphic to help you know what term to use when dealing with multiple Force users with altruistic intentions. So that would become Jeddah, Jeddus, Jedi, and Jedi.
Jedi.
Wow. I'll include those.
Jedi.
I think we'll just stick with Jedi, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, as you said, it is good for a few chuckles.
exactly. And then
That is from
JB
JB.
wrote, yes, T.O. disregard good and funny Star Wars jokes. How about the worst? Darth Vader's rarely photographed wife, Ella Vader. Yes.
And a picture of an elevator. Jesus
Just,
Christ.
just as bad as you think it is.
Wait, you
That's
guys,
pretty bad.
I gotta pause. There was some real laughter that just happened. This might be the first Star Wars joke I've heard on OotiniCast that actually triggered real laughter within the first 2 seconds. You know, I think that might actually be funny. Wow, write it down.
Sometimes comedy goes that way. It's like it becomes so bad it's good again. That sort
Right.
of thing. All right, and that'll bring us to the Sarlacc Digest, where we go over the issues for 1,000 years, or until we run out of time. And Tio, you wanted to tell us the story.
A Life Day Carol, which is a Force Ghost story of Life Day. Anyway, yes, I'm referencing A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Anyway, so what we're going to do, we're going to do the retrospective thing like we did last year and probably in the years before, if my aging memory, I just can't remember. It's the kind of thing we would have done. Anyway, so let's start with the Force Ghost of Life Day Past. I'm going to stretch this as far as I can. It was episode 183 on roughly December 30th last year, where we actually went through and talked through what we were hoping to get a year ago in 2015. And at the time, and I did just listen to this, we emphasised that 2015 was a complete blank, because at that point they hadn't told us anything. We were getting a little concerned, because we just didn't know. Shadow of Revan had just come out a few weeks before. No idea. And so we talked through the hopes and dreams. One of the ones I got completely wrong was the Better Than Cross server about 6 months in, so about halfway through 2015. Well, as we know, that didn't happen. People were hoping for operations more often, you know, every 4 months, maybe 6 months at the outside. I think we all agree that would make sense, because they promised they would never do as big a gap as they had between the Shadow of Revan operations and the previous, which was 14 months.
Sorry.
Yeah, we were expecting the nightmare modes, of course, to come for the Ravagers and the Temple of Sacrifice. Of course, that never happened, and it looks like it never will again. We're hoping for new daily areas, which we did get in Ziost 1. Yep. And we had all kinds of hopes. We knew that Togruta were coming. That was about the one thing we did know in terms of the new species. People were hoping for hard modes for Blood Hunt and Battle of Rishi, the tacticals that came with Shadow of Revan, and yes, we did get those. And people were saying, really, do we really want hard modes for those things which we've done a million times before as we level our characters, you know, as solo mode tacticals? Oh well. And of course, we were all hoping for new war zones and or arenas. Yeah.
Or
we were hoping for a
Antar.
new event of any kind, like the Grand Acquisitions race or something like that. And so we didn't.
I
get that
really don't
either.
know what their hatred for the Grand Acquisitions race is.
I don't either.
I mean,
I thought it was
why
fine.
don't they want to bring back? I actually enjoyed it. There was all these little smaller elements of the Grand Acquisition race. You know, there was that little droid race that was inside the promenade. That was kind of fun to do. Of course, if you were trying to compete for somebody, you had to go around and find boxes. What else was involved with the Grand Acquisitions race? Was there something else?
Didn't you have to kind of travel the whole game? Wasn't there? Or am I thinking about the green?
There
event
might have
where you
been
had to go
something else with that too. Yeah.
travel
Yeah, I mean,
all
it was
the
a good
planets?
idea. I don't know why they don't want to bring it back.
Yeah, I love stuff that makes you like go on a little quest all over the game to all the different planets to weird little corners that you've never been to before, and they still do that sometimes. I really love it when they give you a specific reason to visit a part of a map that's like super nichey or out of the way. I love it when they do that.
All right, some other things. Ferris Terran was hoping for a new stronghold, which he did get with Yavin 4. So that was a win.
True.
Many of us were hoping for a priority transport terminal for our strongholds, which we didn't get, still.
No, but there's even more mobility in the game with, the heroics and everything
True.
else. So
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
they
true.
did give us those things which we actually didn't even consider to ask for, like the Insta Mount and the new quick travels. Yeah, we didn't even imagine those things. That's true.
yeah, right. Mount while moving was kind of cool.
Yep. Chill, you were hoping... No, sorry. Revenge Forsaken was hoping for a Wookiee skin rug. And no, still not, unfortunately, depending on your point of view. For Galactic Starfighter, people were hoping for all kinds of stuff, and obviously we got nothing. We were hoping for mini-games. Didn't get that either. What else? People were hoping for quality of life changes, and we did get a lot of those. So there is that.
We did indeed. Yep.
Don't forget, one of my big requests was to make sure that they get ice Scrabble jerky dropping a little more often, and they definitely.
The price of that has gone through the floor, man.
Way to deliver,
Oh,
BioWare.
God.
Nice.
Hoping to get Theron Chan as a permanent companion, so obviously that did happen. That was from Cara Jade. Yeah. Having a guild member cap limited to unique accounts. That was from Chong. And we still haven't got that, though I believe they have alluded to that. That may actually happen. That would be nice.
With the last Cantina event they did, they said be on the lookout for new guild improvements and features. And we haven't seen any of that yet.
Yeah.
Which I was hoping it was that.
People hoping for the multi-spec. We still haven't got that, of course. And, yeah. And what else? New classes and or new disciplines. Nothing like that. New class is probably never going to happen. New discipline, possibly. Or since we've got Insta-60s now, maybe in a Death Knight equivalent from World of Warcraft, where you have a character that starts late. So it can sort of kick off. They don't have a personal story on the old worlds, but their story starts with somewhere in the current story. That's possible. But obviously nothing like that happened.
Yeah, I still think they could do it where they add it as like a third advanced class, essentially.
Right.
Where you'd still have some of the same base abilities and so on, but then they add a whole new advanced class to it, and and then you just. But same story. You just read the story, so they wouldn't have to go back and redo all the stories.
Right.
It would all be the same.
I think they are better.
I still think that's completely doable.
Yeah, I think they are better, as Tio's alluding to, set up to do it now than they were in the past. Definitely, with the way the story's gone.
Yeah.
If they were going to do it, yep. But we're focusing on story. All right, let's switch to the present. The Force Ghost of Life Day present, or what actually happened in 2015. So just a reminder, at the end of 2014, on 2nd of December, that's when Game Update 3.0 came out, which was Shadow of Revan. That's where we got the level cap rise from 55 to 60. We got the missions on Rishi and Yavin 4. We got the flashpoints, Blood Hunt and Battle of Rishi as tacticals. We got the Ravagers and the Temple of Sacrifice, 2 new operations. And we got hard modes for the 4 tacticals that were in the prelude to Shadow of Revan. And of course, we had the big change to the combat system where we got disciplines. That whole change away from the old talent trees and disciplines, which I'm pretty sure we're all kind of used to now, and I don't mind them at all. I think it's a great change. So that has turned out to be pretty good. Though in terms of class balancing being a lot quicker, which was something that we kind of hoped would be a result of this, I'm not quite sure that's actually happened.
And wasn't it an excuse to do this?
Yes.
Was to do changes quicker.
Yeah, they sold that to us pretty hard when it was like, okay, everybody's upset at first. So why are we changing it? Why are we changing it? Oh, it's going to be great going forward. We're going to have like immediate fixes to classes, and yeah, that did not happen, unfortunately.
No. All right, so let's roll through 2015. On 12th of February 2015, we got Game Update 3.1, Conflict on Rishi. That's when we got the hard modes for the 2 tacticals that came with Shadow of Revan. Then on 28th of April, we got Game Update 3.2, Rise of the Emperor. And that's when we got Ziost, which is obviously the story plus the daily area afterwards. And we got the outfit designer, which was a bit of a surprise.
Huge.
Yeah,
Which
that
is
came
really huge.
As Jill said, it is amazing. So that was massively a massive improvement.
Yeah.
So that system is excellent. No complaints at all. That was great.
Except I have to say that doesn't include our weapon, which is kind of a big oversight. I mean, the weapon is a big part of, especially if you use like a melee, a big vibra sword or something. That's a big part of the look. I was really surprised they didn't let us do that, and also the companions. But
yeah, they could have kept it within the same weapons, assault cannons across the board, or single hand across the board, or dual saber across the board, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, the outfit designer, as Yvonne just mentioned, is of course not for companions still, though the fact that the gear that they're wearing is purely cosmetic means you can dress them up however you like, but it's just one outfit, not multiple slots.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, how often are you really going to dress them up anyways? So, I mean, you're probably going to find the look and let them stick with it. You're more concerned about the look of your character. So, I mean, I do like the implementation of the outfit designer. I do like that they gave us multiple tabs to have multiple looks. It's nice, but I think that
a ridiculous number of them.
ridiculous
if you want them, yeah.
But we're always wanting more. It's human nature to want more, I think, and I think some people were a little disappointed that it wasn't a gear swapping tool as a lot of people wanted between PvE, PvP, between different specs and things like that. And
they must have
more on
known
it later.
By the time they came out with the outfit designer, they must have known at that point that where they were going with companions, and knowing that it wasn't going to be compatible with the new companion setup.
I agree.
So,
yeah,
makes sense now.
Now, on 22nd of July 2015, we got Game Update 3.3, the Grand Togruta Celebration. I guess naming of that, because the only thing in it was the Togruta, the second new playable species after the Cathar, was added for however many cartel coins, 600 I guess, and the Yavin 4 Stronghold. So Red, back in the episode 183, did mention he wanted his own Masasi temple, and essentially that's what he got. So you can blame Red for that one, or thank him, as the case may be. So that was our new stronghold.
Right. Well, thank him for it, but boy, that thing's expensive. I finally got like the main part of it opened up just like a couple of months ago. It was like before then I had used up multiple millions of credits and basically had a garage. It's crazy.
That is the one that I actually have on display right now. When I'm actually online, normally with like the top 5, you can go check it out. But
that's cool.
it's nice. Wow. There's a few limiting things in there where with the ceiling lights and stuff like that, because they're temples and they're hollow somewhat in the middle, so there's no place to put certain lights and things. But there's a lot of very good features within that. It's nice to customize.
What's your prestige on it, Kuze?
192,000 some, I think, something like that.
Crazy.
That's cool.
I noticed that Yavin, and actually the other ones are kind of this way too, but Yavin definitely, you can't just put anything in there. It's kind of cool. It forces you to get really creative because not just anything looks cool in there. You kind of have to really pick and choose this type of stuff you're going to use.
It was rough. It really was compared to some of the other ones, especially just the aesthetics of the front. Right when you enter into the stronghold, the very front of the temple, I think probably I went through a lot of iterations of trying to get that to be the entrance to your stronghold. Took a while.
Yeah, there's not enough hooks in the front area. There really aren't, right? There's only
it's a little. Right? Yeah, it's limited. Yeah.
All right, and lastly, in 2015, we're coming pretty much up to the present now. 20 October, we got Game Update 4.0, Knights of the Fallen Empire Early Access. I had to check the date because it seemed later than that, but no, it was 20 October when we got it. So we got 5 extra levels, the new level cap, a level for 65. We got Insta-60s as a thing, free one for subscribers, and then you can buy extra if you want. You got the Knights of the Fallen Empire story, at least the first 9 chapters. We got the whole Alliance system. Now, and we did get the new Flashpoint, which was Star Fortress. Well, sort of a new Flashpoint. Kind of a solo Flashpoint tactical thing.
Yeah.
Pretty weird.
And it was unexpected. We didn't expect to get it.
We did not.
Nice.
We got level sync. We got the Flash.
Big.
That is huge. We got the Flashpoint and Operation Revamp, where they took all of the Flashpoints. Well, actually, not quite all. Most of the Flashpoints. And all the operations and made them available to level 65. Made them basically current. In fact, you get the boost, so you can actually do the operations from level 50.
Level 65, but it's bolstered if you go in at, is it 50?
Yes, you can do them from 50, yep.
Yeah.
And they added solo modes for some of the story-appropriate flashpoints. And also finally they did the stat change, which was the introduction of the win stat mastery, and they merged surge into crit, just as a kind of simplification of the stats. Though a lot of the theory crafting is still complex enough to be interesting, assuming anyone's still around to do the theory crafting.
Also, we should put in parentheses after that, destroyed certain market niches in the progress in
that process.
Yeah, just like I love to craft, and I used to love to craft, and now it's like it's just there's so many people making the same things now that everything just all the prices tanked, and you can't make nearly as much as you used to be able to. Unfortunately, it seems like.
Well, it kind of balances itself out somewhat. Because they did take away some of the markets for because of stats changed, and it reduced it down to 1 stat. But they did add a lot more end game type of crafting, somewhat, with the gear that you can craft for some of the operation level type gear. So with adding more options to craft certain things, but also took away, I think it somewhat balances itself out. I make and sell, well, let me take this back. I used to make and sell 216 gear, 208 gear and 216 gear, and people were buying it. And I feel bad for selling it to them because I don't know if they know this or not, but you can use basic comms to go get 208 gear, and you don't have to pay 1,000,000 credits to buy an earpiece from me or whatever else. But hey, whatever, if you want to spend your credits, go for it.
It's you don't feel bad because that person may know that. There are people who have credits that would rather spend those than even just to figure out. Like if they want a thing, they just go to the GTN and get it.
Yeah,
they don't care about.
That's true.
They don't have enough comms.
Everybody has their different play styles. One thing to add with the 2015, the alliance, in my opinion, between the quality of life and the alliance system, I think those are the 2 best things out of 2015.
Really?
Or at least with coffee. I love the alliance system. I love it for one character, but
yes,
because it's, as Chillis alluded or said in the past, it makes you feel like you're actually driving towards a certain goal, that you're making an impact with that character.
Yeah.
And gaining the companions, and you're building up your force, and you're getting ready for this big battle. But you don't want to do that multiple times because it is such a drag, or not a drag, but a grind, exactly. I should say. But it was a good system. It was a good surprise, and I wish that they would implement some more stuff like that. But we're getting to the Ghost, so I'll wait.
I don't disagree with that, Kuze, but the thing is, if you're a crafter especially, you have to grind the influence on at least, well, I feel like I have to do it on all six companions on every character, because I like to get crits and on crafting, and that means you have to get, you are compelled on every companion, 6 companions, to get them as high as you can with their influence, and that is a serious grind if you're a crafter.
Yeah,
it's painful.
I mean, right, if you're that far into it and completionist, which a lot of people are, yeah, I mean, you do feel that way.
Well, even if you don't take that character into coffee, like I have crafters that I'm not going to do the coffee story with, so they will always only have 6 or 7 or whatever companions.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have to get their influence up to be better crafters and better mission gatherers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's finally visit with the Force Ghost of Life Day Future. And I asked the community, what are your hopes for SWOTOR in 2016? If you have guesses for what's coming, let us know for this show. And what we're going to do is run through what the community had to say, and then we'll go around the table and ask our participants here for their own opinions. Let's start with JB. And I should warn you that some of these may be a little cynical or depressed or whatever. But anyway, JB says, can't help but think that they have an end state in mind for SWOTOR. 2016 will conclude SWOTOR for its successor, Star Wars MMO, in 2017. Well, that's an interesting idea, but it's possible, but we've got no hint that that's true. Everything that I'm seeing implies that this is the direction SWOTOR is taking. They really haven't got a sunset here in mind. Right. They really think this will be successful for the game going forward. Anyway, next, Buckeye, admittance by BioWare that the game is in maintenance mode, except for new cartel market items. Sigh. Well, they are doing, the focus is clearly on the stories, chapters, releasing chapters, so that's not maintenance mode really, because they are producing new content.
Yeah, and related to that, what JB said just before that, they are, those two thoughts are linked. You know, JB said 2016 will conclude SWTOR for a successor MMO in 2017. Yeah, I mean they are coming out with new content, but the whole year does look like maintenance in a way, because you're going to be putting out these new chapters, but everything else is sort of just literally being maintained. And it does seem like we're getting things like companions that use the skin of like a character from Voss, or you know, they're really reusing content as much as they can, and it feels a little bit like, okay, let's really find different creative ways to farm the content they already have, and the characters and the looks and the models they already have, and reuse models, change models slightly, skin them. That feels like maintenance to me as well, and that does to me point to the fact that there probably will be something else. Instead of putting all their eggs into this basket going forward, that there is some other MMO out there that's lurking. That's what it feels like to me too.
Alright, well, Joseph Brown said he wanted PvP love and operations, mostly because story can only go so far. Ain't that the truth? But we do have the alliance system. But again, you can only do that so much. Thoromass says, gotta incorporate multiplayer into the story content to be a good online game. Gotta add way more than that to be a good MMO. Sums it up pretty well. And Kuzo, you said that you were hoping that they will actually market the game. There were 2 Blizzard game ads before the new Star Wars movie. Guess how many for SWTOR? Yeah, and AJ said SWTOR overall didn't capitalize on Episode 7, Force Awakens, very well. EA in general didn't even have any Star Wars game ads. And Bill said, I've seen a lot of Star Wars banner ads on Star Wars videos on YouTube. And Kuzo, you said you've had a lot of Star Wars fans ask what SWTOR is.
I see, that's the biggest thing to me, and this is kind of why I brought it up in the beginning when I was opening that. I have a Star Wars friend at work, Star Wars fan at work, who he's got the board, the tabletop games. I mean, he's a programmer, he's into computers and everything else, and I've mentioned him in the past, and I use him as an example. And I told him, I was like, yeah, I play Star Wars online game, and it's really fun. And sometimes I do a podcast about it and whatnot. And he's like, oh, what is it? And I told him, and probably about 10 minutes later, he emails me, and says, "Oh, is this it?" And it was for like, I don't know if it was KOTOR or for, I don't know what game it was, but he emailed it to me and said, "Hey, is this the one that you're talking about?" I said, "No, no, no." And I emailed him back. I said, "This is the one I'm talking about." And he had no idea.
Wow.
And I think a lot of people like Bill, and Bill knows this, I'm sure, that we as SWOTOR players see a lot of banners for SWOTOR in YouTube, in streams, and everywhere else we go, because what do we do on our computers? We look for Star Wars stuff, and we're online gamers. Well, if you're neither one of those, and this is similar to, or this is why I was looking up Star Wars games on my work computer today, because I normally don't use it for anything else besides work and shaming on other stuff, but you know, I can't really search for games on a computer anyways, because a lot of stuff is blocked, or at least if you click on the links. At any rate, so I was like, okay, I'm going to do a test. I'm going to say, all right, I just watched the movie. I'm really interested in Star Wars. I kind of want to get into the storyline. I want to feel like I'm one of the characters, whatever else. I'm going to look up Star Wars games. And when I looked up Star Wars games, all I saw was Legos, Battlefront, a wiki, and before it took me to the second page before I was even to SWOTOR. Now that's going to vary across between the type of person that's doing the search based on the search engine that you use. Similar to Tio, it was the first or second one that popped up in his list. But if you don't have that data building up against you, then it might not pop up for you at all. And I account that to the marketing. I really just blows my mind, and I would say it somewhat angers me that when I go to the movies or I go somewhere and I see an ad where Arnold Schwarzenegger is doing an app game ad for like whatever one he's doing now. I'm like, God, this app can pay for Arnold Schwarzenegger to do an advertisement for him, but SWOTOR can't throw together a 30-second or less, 10-15-second video and put it on TV, or put it in do a deal with Cinemark and advertise the game. You want all these new players to come in. Nobody knows about it. They just assume, in my mind, they assume that if you love Star Wars, you know about Star Wars: The Old Republic, and that's not the case from a lot of people that I've talked to. I have to explain it to them what it is.
Weird.
All right.
Yeah, I gotta say this. Oh, can I say one more thing real quick about that, Tio? I got to say that all the talk about the people leaving as well, like Jesse Sky, for instance, we don't know why, but if you think about it, if you're the person who really pushed Kotfi, and then you're assuming that you're going to get the marketing behind it that you would expect, especially after spending the money on the Blur trailer, lots of money on that Blur trailer, and then if that's your baby, and then you get to episode 7 and there's like literally almost no marketing for your game, the way Blizzard did, like you're saying, Kuze. And you're the guy who created it or came up with it, really pushed it. You might be a little bit bummed about the outcome. Just saying.
Interesting idea. Though EA have said that they hope for just a general uplift from the movie will cause people to look around for things like SWOTOR and whatever.
But if you Google or Star Wars games, you would hope that would be on the first page, and it's not. It's in that banner that's up at the top. So yes, hopefully somebody will click on that. But anyways.
All right, moving on. Crimson says he hopes for expansion of group content and more of Theron Shan romance. Okay, group content. We'll see. Liberty says for 2016, I would like bugs fixed faster. SWOTOR still has a lot of bugs and more bugs from the few patches since 4.0. And most of all for 2016, no more 3-month gap between new content.
Here.
Well, depends how you define content. We are going to get chapters every month. So you won't get 3-month gap, but just a chapter every month. Maybe
just
some
a warning.
other stuff.
Right.
Before we started recording, Tio, you said we can take our time, so I'm taking my time. You can cut this out. With the bugs, in the beginning, when SWOTOR launched, there was a lot of bugs. And a lot of people left because of those bugs. And since I've been looking online, looking at other MMOs and stuff like that, I've been reading in forums and hearing other people talk. There's been similar games that have launched with a lot of bugs, and they left due to those bugs. It's not necessarily the content. It's because people nowadays, they have less patience and everything else. So when they run into a wall, they're just it's easier for them to just go ahead and quit and leave it alone. And it really bothers me that SWOTOR 4 years in now is not as polished as it should be when it comes to bugs. Now I know with new systems, implementing new systems, that you're going to run into those things, but there's still stuff. So is still bugged, heaven forbid. And, there's other ongoing bugs that have been in the game since launch that still are not fixed. And for some of those people that their last straw is coming short, they might run into a bug and just say, I'm done. So it really hurts them to not fix these bugs and improve quality of life in the game, sometimes more so than content. So I agree with that.
I know when I was new to the game, for some reason I was really attracted to the codex and doing the stories of Vanilla SWTOR and having all this fun, wanting to see the codex complete. And when I found out that it was bugged, and it's still bugged to this day, and it is impossible to complete it, I fought that for like 6 months on the forums, like, oh, let's get it fixed, hurrah, hurrah, let's get it fixed. And I finally realized, oh, they just don't care. Someone just doesn't care. Because if they did, they'd figure it out. So that's I'm actually surprised I survived that as a new player.
All right. Fibro Jedi says, a lot of people want more operations. I would like to see more companions returned in Cutfee. Born to Eat Bacon responded, especially the romanceable companions. He doesn't like how they dole out the ones nobody likes first. Just wait. I'm sure they'll come back as soon as they can get their hands on the voice actor.
Was that done with sarcasm?
Pun intended. Oh.
The more companions?
I'm sure they'll bring them back.
More companions, or they want all of them?
Probably all of them. All 40, or however many there are.
It is weird that they didn't bring back the romanceable ones first, but maybe it's good content for later, I guess.
Yeah. All right, Senkar Claus says, a new operation, new flashpoints, and a story that matters. Getting the MMO back in the game is my wish for 2016. So say we all. Alex from the Geek Podcast. Just something to hold more players' attention, and something Force Awakens related. I want a cross-guard saber. Yes, that would be kind of cool. Now that we've seen it in the movie, it's actually quite reasonable, I think. Sith Lord. My hope is that there is something, anything at all, except story coming. And my guess is that there isn't. You may be onto something, but we hope you're not. Darth Brundlefly. Guess, better than cross-server. When the game is finally moved totally onto your hard drives and the journey to single player is complete. Well said. I've been thinking about that, and that would eliminate the need for cross-server. They've solved the problem of the queues by not having anything to queue for.
Wow.
That's being very cynical, but remember
Just put
they
it on
did.
Xbox or something.
They did revamp all the operations of Flashpoint, so there's a ton of group content in the game now for new players. So let's be realistic about that.
Yeah, they did say there would be two important things that would be improving the queues, essentially.
For New York Comic Con this year, or in 2016.
Right.
That's what they were talking about, was bringing all the old stuff back.
Possibly.
Pixel Cafe said, it'd be nice if they added some MMO bits. There's not a lot of reason to sub long-term without them. And that is true, unless you want your chapters every month and to play the HK. Play as HK in that bonus chapter. That's your value proposition, so weigh that one up. Quirker said, Warzone and a companion nerf, because there's no challenge. There's more on that one later. Emily Evans said, a real reason to subscribe again that's not HK55. Yep. Stardust Legacy of the Passionately Casual podcast. I'm hoping for more challenges, a return to what it was to play in the early days when victories meant something. And GRC followed up with, I'm with Stardust on this challenge and MMO aspects. Story only goes so far. You need a well-balanced game. So 2 parts there. Obviously, something other than story. But the second part is mentioning the challenge. And this is something many people have said. It's just too easy. It's not challenging. And unless the game is challenging, it's not very satisfying and it gets boring. You can make your own challenge by leveling without gear, but
and advanced classes and
advanced classes.
Yeah. And even that'll won't stop you.
Like Sukai Barrow loves the game so much, it's like, I'll just take up all the gear and make my own challenge. But I gotta agree. This is like playing through copy. I've only played through it one time, and I will do it another time. But it was a very strange experience. The story's really cool, but you're like, wait, am I playing a game that's fun and challenging, or am I just grinding through these stormtroopers or whatever, sky troopers, in order to get to the next scene? I've heard you guys say this, but that's exactly the experience I had. It was like, why is it not fun to just grind through these mobs, and then I get to the. I'm like, which part am I looking forward to here? The story or the challenge? Because there's definitely no challenge. Weird.
Yeah, exactly.
And they said they wanted to find that balance between new players. They didn't want to discourage new players by having it extremely challenging for them, because all the older players are used to the key, their keys and their moves and everything else, and it should be easy for them, but it should be somewhat challenging for the new players. But if that's the only thing that you're concerned about holding the new players on, is that it's not that challenging or they're not running into walls, then that's an issue. There should be a lot of other things in the game that's, holding that new player to the game, like, oh, what is this? I need to go look, I need to go research how to do this. I need to find out what this aspect of the game is about and everything else, and except for just that one aspect. I know they're probably thinking about more of it.
It's a game. This is the thing they can't forget. It's a game. They're presenting a story through a game, which is all very nice, and kind of their fourth pillar and all the rest of it. That's not enough reason to pay money for it. This is reiterating what we said any number of times, but it's so true. You've got to have a game there. Yeah. Otherwise, why bother? You can just watch it on YouTube when someone else has played through.
Which is what I'm going to do. Absolutely, for the next couple of months. Absolutely, I'll come out and say it. It's like, if I can't, like, we all like to binge watch a show. We got to binge watch Kotfi is essentially what we did the first 9 chapters, 8 chapters. I'm going to watch it as they come out now and then, maybe on YouTube. But then when it's all done, I'll subscribe for a month and watch the whole thing again. It's like they should have known that's what'll happen.
Said a long time ago, give me a 60 and let me watch the video. That's what it's coming to, and that's exactly where it's went. Funny.
Now, GRC also said, I would like, in 2016, new PvP maps, new operations, and triple spec, allowing switching to all 3 specs on a character. So, well, the new PvP map looks like we will be getting one, or at least the announcement of one in February. So, there's something.
Announcement.
Yep. Ferris Terran said, I hope they give a damn about the other aspects besides story, or just admit the truth finally, that they're only doing story. Now, I haven't heard any mention of MMO bits for a while, but yeah, they should be there, hopefully. Kevin Davis, I wish for something to grab my attention. I haven't played since Kotfi dropped. I just couldn't bring myself to play. Sad face. It is worth playing through, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it is a good story.
It is a good story, it's true, and certainly if you do Light and Dark Side, you do get a kind of different flavour to it. You kind of end up in the same place, though, but,
Not by much. Maybe in the future. So it might be worth it to do both sides.
Your
by
choices
the end of by the chapter.
will matter.
By the end of all the chapters, it might be worth it. But for at least once, it was definitely good one time. Nobody should be able to deny that. It was definitely a good story through one time.
Well, you can't blame them, because the following line does not really work as good marketing. Your choices might matter.
Yeah.
But probably not. It just doesn't work for marketing. So.
Sometime in the future, they might matter.
Yeah.
Seth said, at this stage, I'd be happy with one new operation mid-year and a new PvP map. My fear is we are going the way Lotro did. I think I mentioned that previously, where they got rid of all their group content. Now they're starting to bring it back. I believe they've got 4-man content again, but they said, nah, no more raids or anything like that. And Lotro is an actual story-focused game as well, but just not as interactive as SWTOR is. And yeah, they had epic battles, but they were meh. Many players quit. That's a kind of big battle system, which was a nice idea, but the implementation of it was a bit meh. I'm hoping that SWTOR will learn from that and don't completely drop the MMO bits, especially raids, as that would be a real shame. Yes, it would. And finally, from Overbite, GSF. Well, there's zero hint of that, but they may surprise us. They have before. All right, That is what our community had to say. Thank you, everyone who responded. So,
amazing.
As you
really
can see, there's a general consensus here.
I didn't
love that story, but
at all.
more. Otherwise, we'll go free to play.
And also, hearing you, Tio, go through everything they did do this year, starting with we were all playing Shadow of Revan at this time, or at in January 2015, right? And Escape Podcast had a great summary as well, kind of like similar to the one you just went through, Tio. And when you think about all the stuff they did deliver in 2015, that is a huge pile of work, and a lot of it's very good work. And that can't be. We all love this game, and that is a big deal if you think about what they delivered. A ton of stuff in 1 year. It's just the question we're asking is, why did you focus on some of those things and miss things like the obvious exploit, which I think was a huge problem, leaving it in for so long on purpose? I think they left it in on purpose. It's my theory, and then not putting a little time into operations after they promised it would never be that long again for us to get an operation.
A strategic choice. Yes, and we've talked before. What they did with Kotfi is the relaunch of SWTOR. It is SWTOR 2, so to speak. They wanted to get it ready for the vast horde of new players who would arrive with The Force Awakens and their awakened interest in Star Wars. And I believe they are going to get a certain pickup. Something I monitor is the Google Trends for various games, and SWTOR has certainly picked up with the movie. So people are searching for SWTOR and finding it, apparently.
Great.
So whether it's that much of a bump and whether it will continue, who knows?
I really hope they all queue for PvP. That'd be great.
It does.
Or
It does
JSA.
It does put it in perspective to actually look back as far as when you're in the moment getting things. Because even before we started, I was reading the show notes and looked at all the things that they had implemented in 2015, and it does seem like a lot of content when you read it back.
Yeah.
The parts with me, and I guess we're going to do our roundabouts for what we want to see in 2016.
Go ahead.
So I'll I'll just start. SWTOR 2, or at least a revamp of SWTOR currently. Looks like she's going off.
That's what she thinks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she thinks. So yeah, SWTOR 2, and I think they do deliver a lot of times on some of the larger parts of the system. But the thing that always gets me, and I feel like if I was thinking today, I was like, man, if I was a supervillain, I think my name would be Dr. Iterato, because I'm always iterating shit back and forth over and over and over again. It's the small things that they miss out on. They really have a lot of smaller aspects of this game that they definitely could spend some time in and really get a lot more mileage out of it than they do with some of the larger systems. Just spending time with some GSF or whatever else in they did do crafting. They have updated a lot of things, but it's really the smaller things of the game that I think that they need to look into. I played that Black Desert Online beta, and there was a lot of things in there that I missed that SWTOR used to have. I think that we all love the new quick travels and things like that, but I kind of in Black Desert, you have to travel from one point to another, and it takes a while. But in that travel, it kind of immerses you. You get immersed into the game and everything else. And I think SWTOR is missing a lot of that nowadays. Everything was just so quick. We were just trying to hurry up and get it done and get my dailies or whatever else. I do like some implementation of that, similar to the heroics. The heroics are nice with the quick travel for the heroics, but I don't know. The game just seems too fast now. Yeah. Too easy, too fast, and before you know it, you're over and done with, and the content's finished. So I really want them to come back to the smaller aspects of the game and focus on bugs, quality of life, and all those other little side things that SWTOR should have.
Agreed. All right, leave alone.
This is funny. I think I'd probably be in the minority on this, but I swear, if I had one thing, if they said, hey, Steven, if you had one wish for the game, what would you like us to do? I would say, please, for the love of God, fix the achievements and the codex. I don't know what it is. I guess that's my play style. I love hunting achievements, and I love to see, look, I got all the lore in the whole game. I know the whole story here. And it's been broken since launch. They put out achievements. They were broken. And to me, that's a broken promise when you say to a gamer, hey, there's this cool system, and you can, finish it. Why don't you work on completing the story here? And this list, it sounds crazy, but that's what I love about one of the things I love about the game. And that's a broken promise when you tell somebody, "Hey, go chase this," and then it's impossible to complete. It's incredibly frustrating.
Right, and that goes to exactly what I'm saying with the smaller things in the game. People take for granted, oh, there's datacrons. Oh, that's just some small little part of the game. Well, it adds to and builds upon every little small system in the game. Builds upon the game and adds more content than you actually realize. And like you
Yes.
said, not being able to finish stuff that's been broken since launch is very disappointing.
Yeah, very. I can't believe when I say it out loud. I hear you say it. I'm like, why am I still playing this?
Sorry.
I'm hoping that I'll log into some patch notes. It's like, hey, we fixed all the codices, yay! But it just, that's never going to happen.
Anything else, Civilon?
No, that's it. That's my one wish.
All right. Chill.
Yeah, well, obviously, as since we do operations, I'm obviously looking forward to operations or hearing more about them. But beyond that, which is pretty much in tune with what the community is saying, I'd like to hear just more from the dev team in general. It feels like it's been a little quiet recently. We did get the HK55 announcement and a little bit of other stuff, but it has been pretty quiet for a while now, and maybe that's partly because of the story thing. I mean, you can't really talk too much about the story ahead of time because that's obviously all spoilers, and it kind of maybe limits them in some of their topics. But I would like to hear, sort of any excuse to hear more from them. For example, we have, several new story people, including Karpashin, I mean, pretty well-known people who are now on their story team. I'd love to hear interviews from them, or essays from them, or anything like that would be great. I'd love to hear from any of the writers at any time. Hall Hood, all the good people. And, just sort of any excuse to hear more from the devs would be great.
Yep.
Great.
Great point
All
about
right.
Drew. I can't wait to see what kind of stuff he comes up with, what they do with him on the team again. That's cool.
All right, let me finish with what I want, which is I want the game back. I play SWTOR because it is a world where I can be in the Star Wars universe, but I want a reason to be there. Just being there isn't quite enough, so that's great. Provide content that we enjoy, operations to do with our friends, new flashpoints, new whatever, new worlds to explore, and all the rest of it. They are sort of doing that a little bit, but the focus on story and just basically battling skytroopers between cutscenes, it's just not that interesting. The story's fine, but you do it and then it's done. I'm sure your choices will kind of matter maybe, but it's not enough. It's not enough, particularly for paying a subscription, even for one chapter a month. We need other stuff. If that other stuff is coming in 2016, fantastic. I'll be happy. But I want the game back. And the challenge thing is a real good point. There should be at least some challenge to the game. Make the game challenging. Otherwise, what's the point of playing?
Yeah.
You may as well just watch that on YouTube.
And I always leave out a lot of things, especially when I'm talking, because I lose myself there for a minute. But I'd like to see a lot of guild stuff, as what we talked about. The guild cap raised by count would be nice. Maybe some different guild achievements or guild rewards. So, not conquest oriented, but my guild took this down, or whatever else, or maybe guild levels as they did in WoW. A calendar, an in-game calendar. I've been talking about an in-game calendar. To me, it seems like an easy thing to implement, but of course, with programming and everything else, it's probably a little bit harder than what people imagine. But it would be nice to say, okay, here's the calendar for December. I can see when the bounty contract's coming out. I can see when the grease coming out and everything else, and you don't have to worry about looking on the forums or whatever else. Everything else is up front. Your guild can also use that to schedule events. I would like to see dual spec or triple spec or whatever else. Gear swapping within the decorator, or the gear customization thing that they have. There's a lot of small things that they can implement in this game that would make it polished. Polished is a good word. I want SWTOR to be polished in 2016, and along with that, exploration. Exploration has been totally taken out of the game completely. There's no reason for me to explore a map because there's nothing out there for me, or at least on my mind, and that's the way that it's put. They need to open up the map like they used to. They need to have little Easter eggs or datacrons or hidden quests that you can do that are not bugged, that are complete, that you can follow, from start to finish. I want to be immersed in SWTOR, and I can't do that within the 9 hours that they give me within the 9 chapters or an hour a month. People need more to do, and mini games. I'll just put that out there for other people. It'd be nice to have some mini games.
All right. Finally, from Jeff Hickman, who's general manager there at BioWare Austin and the guy who effectively runs Star Wars: The Old Republic. This was from Chris R.N. in chat, who put the quote in. I want to be really clear to our fans out there who are deep MMO fans. We're not forgetting about that part of the game either. We just have a focus right now on the story. We're doing lots of stuff around flashpoints and operations and raid bosses and PvP and that stuff, but it's all about story this year being 2015. So that means that a lot of stuff we hope for may actually be here in 2016. And as Kuzay said, a polished game, that's where I really, really hoped the game would be by the time The Force Awakens came out, so that it was rock solid for people arriving who weren't going to be scared off by bugs. And I mean, it's not too bad. There are still flaky bits, but for the most part, it's all right. But
totally. But we do have to remember that this is very strange. During the premiere of The Force Awakens, during the week of the premiere of The Force Awakens, we have broken events in the game. People logging in for the first time. Oh, what's this, Reckles? I heard it's broken.
Oh, not to mention that the launcher. God, when I look through Twitter, I sub to the Reddit, and I don't know how many Reddit posts I saw where, what's wrong with the launcher? Why can't I get into the game? I'm a new player. Somebody help me. And there was just a lot of issues that I saw. It was, oh man, this is not good.
Because they're on vacation at the time that The Force Awakens launch comes out, at the time that they're supposed to be raking in all these thousands of new people, and they're on vacation. So
they're not fixing the events was not good, as I believe we talked about last week. Right. Anyway, so let's wrap up with that and say we have high hopes for 2016. But,
yay!
Not a lot of reason for hoping,
August.
but our faith remains.
Keeping the faith.
Keep the faith.
All right, that's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Harbinger server, or in our Guild on the Empire side, do a /cjoin Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast. You can find contact details for all of us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe to us using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Go to OotiniCast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is from Mevio's Music Alley. Check it out at music.mevio.com. That's MEVIO. Thank you to the chat room, and thank you to Kuze and to Ivalon.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll see you next week.
All right, gentlemen, keep recording. Everyone, we completely failed to do a short show.
No, look, you prepped the show before in the beginning. Talk as much as you want. We don't have a lot.
I didn't think we had that much
content. I took that to heart.
I had a lot to
Yes,
say.
you did.
So did Kuze. That's funny.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
You know when I come on, I'm going to run my mouth about,
It's fine.
mindless shit.
Oh, no, it's good. It's all good content. I delete the mindless
Yeah,
shit.
it's fine.
There usually isn't much.
Yeah.
Dude,
all right, so
I tried to do a Wookiee scream like that a couple times ago at Kuze, and I totally failed. Like, someone needs to at some point we need to get a quality Wookiee version of Utini Rage, which you tried to do just now. A little bit distorted. Okay, a little bit distorted.
Just a little.
Well, it always comes through distorted on Hangouts, but normally the
okay.
the Audacity comes out fairly well. But my Wookiee is always mixed with the Sand People somewhat, because I can do a good Sand People, impression, but my Wookiee gets mixed in with that sometimes.
That's hilarious.
all right, guys. Happy New Year. I hope you don't get too drunk. For us, it is New Year's Eve here, so who knows
happy
what'll
New
happen.
Year.
I know it's the 30th for you guys, so you got another day before New. Anyway,
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New
Year to you.
Year. May 2016 bring
Yeah.
many good things. All right, guys, I will stop the broadcast. We will see you next week.